this coffee thing to me, of course I didn't have interest in coffee, and I had to go and enroll in the academy, and then as I was doing the coffee course, I fell in love with the coffee.
Oh, that's very interesting. So you talked about, in Mutesa 1 you actually did a course in mass communication. So growing up as a child, what did you want to be? People always want to be a lawyer, some want to be a pilot. I had some kids say they wanted to be a taxi conductor because they hold a lot of money. So growing up, what did you think you would be in the future?
I wanted to be an actress, actually, because I loved movies ever since I was a young girl. And I think I love the camera from day one. That's why I went
So are there any hopes of you getting into the movie industry in Uganda?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm not taken by the coffee industry.
Well, that's very interesting. Amon, to hear from you. I also know that, growing up you wanted to be something. What did you want to be when you were a kid growing up? I know there was nothing like a barista in your mind. I don't even think you knew about coffee at that time. So from my perspective, I think you wanted to grow up and be a model, but you can correct me on that.
Why would you choose a model? Well, me from, I wanted to be a journalist.
Okay.
I think I realized that in my P6. We had a teacher who was doing journalism at the same time teaching us SST. So this guy was like a lifestyle guy. He used to be a very, very, very inspiring guy. So I liked him from the start. So I'm like, okay, I want to be a journalist. So that's how I picked a dream of becoming. And at least I'm trying to achieve that, you know, because right now, if I'm doing mass comm, at the same time, this we're doing coffees, so I'm still on the track. I'm not like Swabra who's already taken by coffee.
The most amazing thing is that actually all the three of us here have done mass comm at a certain level. Okay, and
so we have one thing in common.
Yes, we have something in common at least. The other thing we have in common is that we all passionate about coffee, which is a very good thing. So Swabra, you told us that a friend of yours who's now like your brother introduced you to the coffee industry. So I know that when someone introduces you, there is always a pitch they give you. It's like if I want someone, let's say the Coffee Messiah always goes out to convert people and he has to give a pitch of why should I join the coffee business instead of actually starting a boutique, okay? Which one will make more sense? So what were some of those things that he told you about the coffee business that actually pulled you into it?
Actually, the most interesting part about it was he also didn't know anything about coffee. he wasn't a barista by then. He just told me, you have to do this course and then come to Dubai and make a lot of money because the coffee business, there is money. So I also went into it to study to go and get money. But along the way, of course, I fell in love and I decided to stay in Uganda.
All right, so you talked about Dubai. Most of the people we've had on the show have had some experience with the Middle East. We had a guy who worked in Kuwait as a barista. So moving from Uganda to Dubai, did you go and work as a barista or you went and got involved, into other businesses?
I went to Dubai way back. I think that was around, 2014, but it wasn't coffee. I knew coffee after I came back to Uganda. Because he was like, now that you're back for your vacation, you should do something different and then come back as someone new. Yes, that's when I went into the coffee industry.
Amon, I remember last time we were talking about you not wanting to go out of the country, to become a barista. And I don't know if your mind has changed since then, but like most of our baristas go to Dubai, they go to UAE. I really haven't heard of any barista who has gone maybe to America, maybe to Europe. Is it easier as a barista to go from Uganda to the UAE than it is to go maybe to Europe or to America?
Well, guys do go in the UK, in the US. Guys do go, but only that these people go in the line of maybe doing hotels, not coffee shops. Because it's because someone it's easy to access that side, and whoever goes that side, now there's a lot of connection that side, so people get to know that okay, Emma went to UAE. But when someone goes maybe to UK, it would be hard for someone to know, because maybe like it's a family or a family friend who gets to know that, you know what, Emma went to UK. Yeah. But people do go that side, and they make a lot of money.
That's very interesting. Yeah. Still talk about Dubai. I know there are very many differences basically between Dubai and Uganda. Okay, yes. And going there, I believe there was that cultural change. So how were you able to deal with the culture change? Because I know that Uganda is more of a freestyle kind of place, and Dubai is really a strict place, especially when it comes to ladies. So how were you able to manage the culture change from Uganda then to Dubai?
It was really tough. It was tough for the first months. I think the first 2 months, and then of course the fact that I went to Dubai as you know, like looking for a job and all that. There are also other people who come to Dubai that are not from that country. Yeah. So that kind of gave me a sense that I'm not alone in this. So of course you have to make friends. You have to learn the language, because learning the language is the most important thing to do. Yeah. So I caught up with the situation.
Okay, so did you learn the language?
Yes, of course.
Okay, that's very interesting. So
I learned the language.
If I went to Dubai and wanted to order a cup of coffee, okay, how would I say that in Arabic?
I don't remember.
So basically you learned a few things, like maybe greeting.
Yes.
You know?
I used to know all of it actually, but it's been a while. I don't remember all of it.
Because in most cases, when you learn a language, what you get to know is how you greet, and everything's like to keep you running in case you get lost. It's like those guys who come to Uganda. What they need to know is Mwasuze Mutia, Olibulunji, something like that. But they can't go beyond that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how you said.
So every time you could get maybe a harsh client, you could know how to handle. You just be polite and apologize, and then you get the order and then you move on.
Okay, interesting. To Amon, I know that in Uganda there are certain places that I've gone to, and there's totally no customer care. You enter a restaurant, you order for something. First of all, I believe that when you go to a restaurant or to a coffee shop, okay, someone is supposed to come and attend to you, all right? But there are some places that in Uganda you go to a hotel, you go to a coffee shop, and you really have to call the waiter or call the waitress to get served, okay? Amon, how has been your experience in Uganda in relation to customer care, especially where you work? Are we up to the mark of good customer care, or we still need a lot of help in that part?
Well, to be honest, in Uganda we still have the poorest customer care. Because in most cases, these guys who are in customer care or customer service, most of them are either in school and they're just doing the job for the sake of doing the job, but they are professional customer care attendants. These guys have studied this. They have gone to like a room and studied this. They have gotten training, so they know how to handle a person. But in Uganda, it's really, really hard to find a very, very good customer care. For a case of where I have been in a few places, I haven't had that bad experience with customer care, because I've went to a coffee shop and I've received instant customer service, and it's been a nice experience. So I haven't received that bad service.
All right. According to me, I think that just like you said, we really haven't reached the mark. We still need a lot of help when it comes to the customer care industry. And I believe that most of the time, you know, you just get a job and there's really not much training put into it. You just start working and you don't know how to deal with people. I believe that the most important part when it comes to such a service industry is not even the coffee you're brewing, or it's not the food that you're giving. It's basically how you treat the customers. Okay, that's what keeps them coming back. Okay. So Abra, before we go for a break, basically how we got to you was that you were blowing up on social media. Okay. A little bird told us that there's a certain barista that is now blowing up on social media. Okay, and it really caught our attention. We're like, oh, okay. You know, baristas are actually getting out there. You know, the coffee business is starting to grow. So before we go for a break, I just want you to tell the viewers out there, okay, who are you on social media? What is your name on social media? Are you Swabra Banks? Are you someone else on social media? Because sometimes people have aliases, you know. On Facebook I'm one person, then on Instagram I'm another person. So before I go into a break, just tell the people who you are on social media.
On social media, I use I am a barista.
Okay.
Yes.
That's both on all your social
all
media
my
platforms?
social media platforms, yes.
Okay. Yeah, please.
That is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to get into a break right now. In the studio, we have Amon Mukisa, the coffee messiah, and we also have Swabra Banks, the coffee goddess, and me, the coffee human, Atengi Manuel. We'll take a break right now, and when we get back, we're going to talk more about how you can brand yourself in the coffee business. Stay right there. This is House of Talent Television. A journalist, okay, which I believe that you're studying. Okay, you got me wrong. I thought you wanted to be a model, but here we are.
Why did you think I wanted to be a model?
Maybe look like one.
Yes. I mean, when someone looks at him, you can see the well-kept beard, the well-kept hair, the nice shirt. I think it's something that you really need to look into.
Maybe I should.
Yes, you should. Okay, at least we'll say we know someone famous. Yeah, but like I said before, we went into a break. We're just getting into basically branding in the coffee business. Okay, before I saw your profile on Instagram, I really hadn't seen any other barista who would put themselves out there. It's like being a barista is only what you do when you're at your coffee shop or when you're at your place of employment. Okay, it's not like how you have all these social media influencers, always putting out their videos, tweeting on Instagram. I really haven't had anything from a barista. Okay, and it's good to have someone with experience. Okay, we just want to know, how do I start? If I was a layman, I've gone to barista school, I'm a barista, where would I start when it comes to branding myself as a barista?
I think the first thing you have to do is get the passion.
Okay.
Yes, because you can do everything, but as long as you don't have the passion for it, you're not going to make people love it.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, you have to fall in love with it first, and then do some research. Don't be in the comfort zone. You have to do some research, know more about the industry, be down to earth. You don't have to show off and all that. And have content. You should have content. Always have content. People love to see what is unique about the industry. What is she doing other people are not doing? How come she's doing this and other people are not doing it? Let me follow her. Let me try to do as she's also doing. So at the end of the day, you make people love what you're doing. If you also love what you're doing.
Yeah, so basically the first thing you're saying is have a plan.
Yes.
Okay? Sit down with yourself and say, what, this is what I want to achieve.
Yes.
Okay, these are the steps to it. All right, so I have a plan. This is what I want to do. Okay, but I'm not yet out there in social media. One of the first things when you're basically picking a name, when you're picking social media platforms or what you're going to be on social media is picking a name.
Yes.
Okay? The name, I believe, has to stand out.
Yes.
And the name has to be catchable, something that will stay.
Yes.
All right. So you use I Am a Barrister. Okay. How did you come up with this name? I believe that there were countless other names you'd have just used Swabra Banks.
Yeah.
I believe that in itself is a very good name.
Yes.
So how did you end up with I Am a Barrister?
I'm one person who is very proud about being a barrister.
Okay.
So the name just came up because I'm proud of being a barrister. And, you know, people used to call me Banks, Banks, Banks. And I wanted to stop that, to stop people to call me Banks. And maybe start calling me barrister.
Okay.
So I wanted to send a message out there that I am a barrister.
Okay.
Yes, I'm not a barrister.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Amon. Amon, when it comes to branding, okay, what would be the first step in your regard, in your perspective?
Well, when it comes to branding, I think it's the cause and the value you stand for, because branding involves personalization or a personality. Then it involves this other side we're putting out. Okay. Because I try to ask myself, why are we not having barristers taken as ambassadors of certain things? For example, we're having different artists come out and they're ambassadors of tourism, and yet coffee is a very, very key major factor in maybe tourism.
Yeah.
Why don't we have these barristers come out and they're like, you know what, Swabra Banks is the ambassador of tourism in terms of coffee, you know, she's going to influence coffee growing in a park or in Gulu. So why don't we have that? I think, like as Swabra is saying, you need to know why you're doing something, and you need to come out of the cage and start doing that. Because if we have various barristers have traits of branding themselves, for example, if I am a barrister and I know, okay, I want to go beyond being the station, you know, I want to be out there, I want to show that I'm a proud barrister and I can do whatever it takes to be that good person who can be approached and they give me business and I want to influence for a certain cause, you know?
Yeah.
So that would be a good thing. So like Swabra is saying, I just want to know how she came out with the name I Am a Barrister, because it's really working. Because yes,
thank you.
Someone asks you, who are you? I am a barrister. So how did you come out with that?
As I've said before, I'm proud to be a barrister, and I am a barrister. It's not special. It's just that I wanted to send a message to people that I'm a barrister now, and I'm proud to be one. That's how I came up with the name, just like that. I am a barrister.
Have you been approached by different companies to like do business with you because of I am a barrister? Yes, because everyone is like, what does barrister mean? And then they have to look it up, and then they're like, oh, it means someone who does this and this and this. Because a barrister is something huge. A barrister doesn't just make coffee. No, we make a lot of things. You know that we make juice, we make ice things, and all that. Yeah, so being a barrister is something that really makes people want to know who a barrister is, not just Swabra Banks, because someone will be like, oh, Swabra Banks and I see coffee, or maybe she's in the coffee business. Now, Emma, you see, like, she's speaking about being a barrister. Most of us didn't know that a barrister does coffee, does juices, does cocktails, various beverages. Yeah. So at least if we brand ourselves as baristas, we get to put our image out there, and we'll get some business coming through.
I remember someone telling me that the first time he heard the word barrister, he thought it was
a lawyer.
A lawyer.
Because you know, let me tell you something. I was having a conversation with now his spokesperson of NUP, Joe Senyon. So the first time I met him, he asked me, "What do you do?" Because it was after my senior six. I'm like, I'm a barrister. Wait, I'm studying to be a barrister. For you already a barrister.
Most times people actually get it confused. We still haven't reached that place in Uganda where we know what a barrister is. We can't really put the line between a barrister of law and a barrister as someone who does coffee. So I have my plan, picked out my super cool name. All right, I'm ready to go on social media. Okay. What is that brand identity? Every time I look at Swabra Banks' account, every time I look at Amon's account, what are some of those messages that you want me to get without you ever talking to me? There are some social media handles of different people that you see, okay, and you just get, you know, certain keywords immediately, like this one is friendly, you know, this one is really nice. What are some of those words that, you know, come to someone when they log onto your Instagram page?
In most cases, when I'm posting something on my Instagram, I make sure I'm sending out a message. It doesn't have to be coffee specifically. It can be something else.
Yeah.
So I always want to show people that a barista is not just, you know, making the latte art and all that.
Yeah.
It comes right from the garden to the cup.
Yeah.
So in most cases, when I'm posting something on social media, I make sure I communicate through my posts or my pictures or my anything,
yeah,
that a barista does this and this and this. It's not just coffee.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So when someone looks onto my page, it's like, oh, even a barista does this.
Oh.
Oh, even a barista does this.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I look at when I'm posting anything.
So
on
I
social media.
actually love that perspective, showing people that you don't have to be, you know, boxed up in only one thing.
Yes.
I'm a barista, but I can actually do, you know, other cool things.
Yeah.
So I remember I think it was last week when I met you at Enduro, I saw you basically interacting with one of your customers, okay? And it was a good thing to see, you know, because that interpersonal relationship you have between a barista and a customer is a very important thing, okay? So what are some of those qualities that your customers have told you that you have, you know, some of the things that they've complimented you about that actually identify you as Amon Bukisa, the barista?
Me as a person?
Yes.
Well, well, I think most of them have complimented about the communication skills, because it all goes down to the communication skills. Those simple communication skills. Most people tend to think it's just a thing, but it's a very, very, very crucial thing. Because just imagine someone is talking to you, but you're not paying attention to them. For example, I'm speaking to Swabra, but I'm looking at you. That's already a turn off.
Yeah.
Someone needs attention, needs to be shown that, okay, I'm talking to you, you know, I'm attending to you. So if you're attending to a client or having a conversation, because sometimes you can't be busy on a station. She's a trainer right here.
Yeah.
I don't know why she trains her students, for example, to handle a busy station. But just imagine now I have a busy station and a certain Edwin comes on station and is like, okay, he wants to have that conversation.
Yeah.
How are you going to handle that, Edwin? To show him that, you know what, Edwin, I'm busy, you know, but let's talk after having this whole mess worked out,
Yeah.
you know. So that's what keeps you going, or keeps a brand
Yeah.
of a barista compared to someone who's going to just come, okay, I'm busy, and just comes out and say, oh, why Edwin? Don't I want to be busy in Vaco? You know, something like that. So
Yeah.
it's a way how you interact or how you communicate with this person,
Yeah.
that keeps you in that same state they see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's not just about, you know, like I used to think before, you know, I knew about the whole barista thing. I used to think being a barista is basically just pouring coffee for someone.
You see, it's called, you know, the word is a barista, which means it comes from the bar, then barista,
Yeah.
you know. So it means it's a bar. Someone can access that bar, you know. So if someone accesses that bar, you don't have a right to chase them away. That's
Yeah.
because it's a bar.
Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
you have to go basically above and beyond what you do.
Yes.
It's not
Yeah.
just about giving them the coffee. You have to create some sort of
Yeah.
relationship.
It actually
with the
means
person itself.
a bartender who is a star.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
that's what
a
it
good way
means.
to put it.
Yeah.
Maybe Emma, I just want to know from Swabra, what are you using as your brand to add value on the coffee industry? Is it just Swabra, oh, I am a barista, just for the sake of social media? But how are you using I am Swabra as a brand to add value on the coffee industry, and how are you doing that?
First of all, I'm doing that through my trainings. I make sure I give the real content, the genuine content, and then quality. A lot of people are in the business, but they don't, you know, give quality out there. They prefer getting a lot of money without even putting in. So to me, it goes back to quality. You have to make sure you give people quality, both the knowledge part of it and the, you know, the coffee part of it. Yeah, quality.
Okay. Before we get into another break, okay, I know that, okay, now we have the plan, we have the name. Basically, now I want people to know that, you know what, let's say I'm Emmanuel, I'm a coffee human, because I have a goddess and a messiah here.
No, now you're a coffee genius.
You know, so these are the different words. I want people to know I'm friendly. I want people to know that I'm not only a barista, there's basically other things that I do, okay? How do you go about creating your content? Because I believe that is the most important thing when it comes down to social media. You have to create content that is basically engaging and content that will keep people coming back. You know, so before we go for a break, how do you as Swabra Banks, you know, sit down and create your content that will capture the attention of other people?
Research. Through research. I do a lot of research actually. All the time I'm on my phone doing research. Research comes through in a lot of ways. First of all, you have to show people that we have competitions. You know, baristas have competitions. It's not just about other people. So there are a lot of interesting parts in our coffee industry that people don't know yet. People don't even know you have competitions here in Uganda. Yet
I was actually about to say we should start one, but now
we
that
do.
you said there
Yes, we do. I actually tried to compete. I think that was 2020, but the COVID thing came up and everything was stopped. So you have to do a lot of research and make people, first of all, love the industry. You have to know what people like. Not just putting things on social media and all that. No, you have to know what's trending, what should I post, how should I put it out there, and you have to follow a lot of baristas to know what's going on.
So you just don't come out there and, you know, throw something on social media without a plan.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll still be talking to Swabra. We also want to know how Amon comes up with his content, because I know he's not only a barista, there's a lot of other things you actually do. So I want to know how he comes up with his content, and we'll also be brewing coffee. Everyone who comes on the show has to brew for us a good cup of coffee. So we're basically rating up to now who has given us the best cup of coffee. We'll be doing that after the break. This is the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television.
There's a particular segment of fans and basketball enthusiasts who have actually put the entire blame onto the federation.
So for me, it was actually a setup for the girls. Fuba set them up, and just throwing in the shark in the deep end with the sharks. That was the
not just throwing in the deep end, but throwing in the deep end with sharks.
And you can't swim.
But they expect you to get to the other end of the pool. that is a discussion that actually very many fans of Slam Dunk Basketball Talk are willing to listen to and want to know.
Yeah, so we'll
if the senior gazelles were not able to get a sponsor, then the junior teams were able to get 3 sponsors.
Enough sponsorship.
KCCA, Stanbic Bank, the Parliament of Uganda, were on board.
So going back to that, why I would bash the federation. Okay, not bashing the federation as such. That is a very that's a heavy word.
Enormous.
Yeah. You can't cancel something, then you tell people 4 days to the tournament that you need to start practicing, which is a thing that Uganda always does when it comes to the federation. I mean, I think later on we'll be discussing why the national team itself that is going for AfroBasket hasn't really prepared for AfroBasket.
That will be a discussion later in the show.
Yes, later in the show.
Young people at the moment are struggling to understand the older generation because times have changed. Technology has come in.
They've moved on.
Yes.
We're the ones sitting back and wondering, what is my child on to? TikTok has surpassed WhatsApp. The other one I call, I never call it Facebook, it's Bookface. Why are you on Bookface? Dad, it's Facebook.
Yes.
Me, I keep saying, I have a foot amongst the millennials.
Yeah.
I understand the traditionalists.
Okay.
There's a song in the 60s, by the way, and in the 90s, 70s, where they're like, parents don't understand.
Yes.
Remember Prince?
Yes.
Prince.
Welcome back to the Coffee Break on House of Talent Television. My name is Ateng Emmanuel, and remember, you can catch us on our social media handles at House of Talent Television. That's on our Twitter and on our Facebook. The show will be airing there. You can also catch us on our website, which is houseoftalentug.com. Don't miss the show. If there's someone out there, if you know a barista, someone who's involved in the coffee business and they're not watching the show right now, give them a call and let them know we are on. Before we went into the break, we're basically talking to the Coffee Goddess and the Coffee Messiah about how they come up with content. And Swabra told us, she sits down and she has to do research on how
growing trees. What am I going to do to make sure that we have a larger number of villagers? Okay, that might sound rude. A larger number of people in villages, grow more trees, you know? So you start like planning that. So that's how you come up with your content.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I've come up with content, I'm out there now, and I know that there are certain people, influencers, musicians, different people on social media who are not easily accessible. Okay, I believe that one of the things you have to be as an influencer is be accessible to people, because people want to interact with you, they want to ask you different types of questions, and there's this whole thing of these days that, sliding into someone's DM, which has become, when you say, I sent a DM to someone, they demonize you, they look at you like, So I just wanted to ask Swabra, how approachable are you on social media? Are you that kind of person? Let's say if I ask a question, I send you a message, do you get back in time, or do you even get back at all? Or it's just, social media, what you see is what you get, and that's the end of it. So how do you go about, talking to people on social media?
I do get back, though not that quickly. I do get back to people and of course interact with them. Some come with questions and you have to answer them, like make them fall in love with the industry, and they end up saying, oh, I didn't know this, I didn't know actually you people are, of recent, a friend of mine even told me, I didn't know baristas get certified. After I told him that, we go to the academies and all that and we get certified. So the whole thing is, I get back to them, and in the process of getting back to them, I make sure at least I educate them in one way or another how beautiful the industry is, and at least they don't end up going back as they came to my inbox.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Amon, how do you take advantage of, you know, that kind of scenario whereby someone sends you a message and they want to get to know more about you and also about the coffee business? So how do you take advantage of that? Do you give them all the information, or do you tell them, you know what, you can find me at such and such a place and we can talk? Or you actually take your time and say, you know what, let's talk through this, you know, let's get on a video call or something like that, and let me walk you through it. So how do you take advantage of that kind of interaction?
Well, it depends on how that someone has slided into my DMs.
Exactly.
if this person has come with an agenda of, no, just brief information, and I'm at liberty to give out that information, because there might be someone coming in your DM and they want that secret information.
The whole course.
Yeah, the whole course. Definitely you won't do that. But
course.
if it's just giveable information and it's brief, you can give it to them. But also when it needs like sitting down, talk about it, like in nits and gritties, then you have to set up an appointment and then do that. And by the way, that's how you get your brand out there. Because just imagine Emma came into my DM and you asking me something, but the way I respond to you, I show you that, okay, I'm available, but not so much available.
Exactly.
So if you want me, please make an appointment with me and we shall meet. Then this person will get to know that, okay, this is a high brand that I'm dealing with. I have to pay respect to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you just advertise yourself there. You bait them
indirectly.
Yes. Yes. You know, I want to be like you. You've inspired me. Actually, people come to me and they're like, you know what inspired me into coffee is your love for coffee. I've got a lot of them. So you have to give really good content and to be consistent. And friendly, actually. Yes.
To Amon, the same thing. How do you keep up there?
Well, I think it's just staying on course. Because what you used to take you to that top level, it's what you will use to stay on that top level. Because when you lose what you intended to do, then it means this audience will go away from you. They'll be like, okay, Emma no longer does what we subscribed him to do for us. Then why don't we go to someone who needs to do something we subscribe to? So you lose that content. Hence you're falling.
Okay, interesting. So basically, for those who are watching, if you're a barista, you're involved in the coffee business, even if you're a farmer, I believe that there's a way you can actually brand yourself as a coffee farmer and be I don't think I've heard of anyone. So for a coffee farmer out there, this is a secret tip. This is the right time to brand yourself on social media as a coffee farmer. You don't know how many deals you can actually come up with. Well, we've reached to that point of the show where we get to brew a cup of coffee. You know, we have had very many people here, and we're talking with Amon and saying we need to do a show where we just rate the cups of coffee that we have taken here, and that put a lot of pressure on Swabra, basically, because now she has to make a really good cup of coffee. All right, so Swabra, I know that people watching from home are seeing us with all these, you know, things, and they're wondering, okay, what do they have on the show today? Okay, so we just want to start from the basics. What do we have on our set here, and what kind of coffee are we going to make? So basically, you're just going to run us through it, and I'm going to try and do this with you.
Okay, that's
hopefully I won't make any mistakes.
That's a good thing, because most cases we teach our people outside there who are viewing to brew this. But today it's hands-on with you also. As they're learning, you're also learning.
It's good that I'm the coffee human here, so I can make a mistake. You guys can't make a mistake. So Swabra, over to you. Just take us through, you know, what we have on set and how we're going to do this.
This is an AeroPress. It's a manual or craft brewing equipment. It is portable. You can carry it anywhere you go. So it is categorized in, or it is under black coffee. Or brewed coffee. So you're going to brew coffee.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so we have our coffee here. We also have a cup with, you know, different white things inside. You know, they kind of look like, you know, the small pieces of bread we use in the cup. So just tell us, what do we have here? Why is it white? Can't we get another color like pink or something like that?
These are filter papers, actually. We use them to filter our coffee. Reason being, everything is manual, so we need a filter inside there. So this is our filter paper. This is our coffee. This is the AeroPress. This is where the filter paper actually goes. And then our weighing scale right there.
It's amazing that every barista who comes has to weigh their coffee.
Yeah, you need these things. You don't just have
there's
to
always that average of water to coffee.
Yes.
You have to really
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we have our AeroPress here.
Yeah.
We have our filters. And we're just waiting for our water to get ready so we can go with this. We also have this. This looks like a small ping pong.
This is a spoon.
Instrument, yeah.
This is a spoon. This one we use it to stir our coffee.
Yeah.
It's the barista word is actually bloom. Bloom, not stir, because everyone knows what stir means.
So you bloom, you don't stir.
we bloom our coffee.
So we stir tea.
Yes, coffee. But we bloom coffee. Yeah.
All right. So as we go on, for those who are home, it's actually easy to make a cup of coffee. Most people think that you have to have some serious kind of equipment to brew a very good cup of coffee. And I know, Amon, there are people who have asked you, how can I buy this instrument? How can I get this? And I guess you always tell them, it's easy to make a cup of coffee. You can get a French press or you can get an AeroPress and actually, make this cup of coffee, right? So where do we go next? We have everything set up. I have mine here. I still have no idea where I'm going with this, but let's see how that goes. So what is the capacity of this? Is there a specific capacity, and are there different spoons with different capacities?
Not really, actually, because that's why we need the weighing scale.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the main purpose is making you smart and you work smart to scoop, not just pouring the whole thing.
True.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So here we are.
So you can use any spoon, actually. It's not specific. It's supposed to be.
Yeah, but this one looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks more professional.
Yeah, it's professional. It's the barista spoon, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So as we wait for our water to boil so we can brew this coffee, there are very few ladies that are basically involved in the coffee business. Okay. It's not something that you hear ladies saying, I'm a barista. Okay. It's more of a male-dominated kind of industry. Yeah. So coming from your perspective, okay, how can we get more ladies into the coffee business? They don't have to only be a barista, they don't have to be a cupper. You can even go down into growing coffee, How do we make it nice? How do we make it cool? How do we make it interesting for ladies to, get into the coffee business?
I think that takes us back to, the schools where we go for this, where we go for the whole courses and all that.
Yeah.
We have a challenge that we have very few schools here in Uganda. Yeah. So a lot of people are not really that informed. And of course, ladies, I don't know why they are not confident about this industry. Everyone says coffee is for men, but no, it's not. Oh. So I think they are not informed. Okay. I think it all goes back to being informed about the industry, which actually we are trying to do. Me personally, I'm trying to do that, yes. So we have to also show them that there are very good things in the industry. You can achieve a lot in the industry. Yeah. Like I talked about the competitions earlier. Yeah, we go for competitions, for these competitions and all that. People think we are just in this industry to make money, but we are in it to win, to win. Yes, so they have to be confident and informed, I think.
Okay, so Amon, to you, how do we get more women involved? As we get ready to basically brew a cup of coffee and come to the end of the show, how do we get more women involved in the coffee business?
I think it's just a matter of demystifying the myths that are around coffee with women.
Yeah.
There are a lot of myths that come along with that coffee dries up women, coffee makes you lose sleep. I think we just need to demystify that, and we shall have more women come on board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if you're a lady out there, don't be scared to be involved in the coffee business. It's like being a chef. We have very many men who are chefs. You'd think women would actually be the chefs in these big places, but they're men. Okay, so we want to see a point whereby we actually have more female baristas than the males. Okay, so let's get into brewing our coffee right now. I think our water is ready. As we're coming towards the end of the show, but before we get there, let's show you guys how to brew a good cup of coffee by the coffee goddess.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start by preheating my filter paper.
Yeah.
I do this because I don't want my coffee to have that pepper smell in it. So I have to first preheat my filter paper. And then I have my weighing scale here. I need my coffee. So I'm going to be using a ratio of 13 grams of coffee with 200 mLs of water.
So do you also like make your own coffee and grind it, or you just depend on getting coffee from different
I really do make my own coffee. I roast my own coffee.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to study how to be a good roaster. I do that at home sometimes. Yeah.
So there are different parts of basically the coffee industry. I know some people only hear that, you know, being a barista, you know, but you can be a kappa, you know, you can be someone who actually does the growing of coffee. But I believe that there are also other parts of the coffee business that I've not looked into. Okay, for example, like Amon, you said, you can be an influencer. Okay, you don't have to be directly involved with the coffee business, but you can actually be an, you know, you can be an influencer. You can be an investor also in the coffee business, because I believe that there are all those other options. Okay, and we shouldn't only look at one side. So it would be a really nice thing to see you guys in future investing in the coffee business. Okay, being big baristas and just going back there and basically giving back. You know, investing and taking the coffee business to the place where it should be. Okay, so yeah, back to our brewing. We're basically poured, I don't know how many ounces of coffee.
I've used 13 grams of coffee. Yes. Right? And then after you pour your coffee into the AeroPress, you have to tare, because you have to measure the water, which is 200 ml that we are going to use. So as you do this, as you start pouring over, you have to turn on the timer.
Okay.
Yes.
So for how much time do I have to do that?
You have to pour the water for like 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Yes. So you pour your water onto the coffee grounds as you look down to your weighing scale, because you don't want to mess up the measurements and all that.
I like the consistency with all the baristas. When they come, you know, you have to pour the water in a swirling motion.
Yes.
You just don't pour it.
So I'm going to bloom
you know, anyhow,
a little bit for like 10 seconds.
All right. So for those who didn't know, this is the blooming part of it. We don't stir like we start. We bloom the coffee. So what else does this blooming of the coffee do?
It mixes well the coffee, because it's brewing. We are brewing, so you have to mix it well, and of course to let that carbon dioxide out of your coffee.
So you degas the coffee.
Yes, basically. You degas the coffee.
Okay. All right, as we honestly wait for our good cup of coffee, no pressure. You know.
Yeah.
I know we kind of put some pressure on you, but no pressure really. Yeah.
So I'm done with my 200 ml. So I have to cover my coffee for the aroma not to escape.
Okay.
So I give it like 1 minute.
Right.
So it's already 1 minute and 21 seconds.
Okay.
So I'm going to need my cup.
Okay, that's
Thank you. You swirl it a little bit. You can see the reaction. Yes. And then you get your cup. Put it right onto it.
And then flip.
Yeah. And then you plunge.
Yeah, so I think that part, you have to do a couple of push-ups.
Yeah.
Just to basically get yourself strong enough to do that. So for those of you at home and are wondering, okay, what kind of coffee are we doing? This is basically an AeroPress. I believe that you can get this in any of our supermarkets in Uganda. Okay, you don't have to really go out and try and get a big machine. You can get something simple like this, an AeroPress or a French press, that will basically help you make a good cup of coffee, especially in the morning. You know, when you wake up in the morning and you want to run to work and you want a good cup of coffee, you can always depend on this. Okay, I believe that a good cup of coffee in the morning will start your day right. Okay, so I think we're done with brewing our first cup of coffee. I think the thing about the AeroPress is that you can only make 1 cup of coffee at a time.
Yes, you can only make 1 cup.
Yeah, so this is mainly for single people.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, for strong coffee takers.
Yeah.
Because
this makes
really
makes stronger coffee.
Yes, stronger coffee.
Okay, so we've come towards the end of our show, and thank you very much for basically showing us how we can, make an AeroPress. We have had people doing French presses. We haven't yet had someone doing a cappuccino here or a latte. I believe that somewhere down the road we'll have you come here, or we'll come and actually visit you.
That would
at
be
your
great.
coffee shop, and you can show us how to do these different things. But before we go, Amon, we're talking about how to get women basically and different ladies into the coffee business. Okay, so how, as a barista, would you look into that camera and just encourage someone who's out there. Especially yesterday, the S6 results came out, and there is that uncertainty of a college is going to open, a university is going to open, so we need options. Okay, and I believe that getting into the coffee business is an option right now. Okay, so Amon, I just want you to look there. I know there's a lady who's a bit confused. Should I get into it? Should I not get into it? Do I have the money for it? Just look to the camera and tell them why they should get involved in the coffee business.
Well, Emma, I think the whole process has to be started by our government. Yeah. I know most cases we don't like to bring the government's or the government side into our own decisions, but it's so crucial because we follow their guidelines and policies. Yeah. So at this time, we need to realize that there need to be change. You know, for example, can we have a certain way that we can get a break of people come out and go get some skills? You know. Because people are seated at home, senior 6, senior 4, P7, they're all now at home. At least they would have used this time to get hands-on skills. By the time they go back to school, at least they have a skill. So that if in case something fails out there, they return back to this skill. So, to a senior 4 vacist, senior 6, please go out there and get a skill. It doesn't necessarily need to be coffee, but any skill that you can do besides class or school. Yes.
Thank you, Ahmad. So, Swabra, thank you very much for being on the show with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's been a very good pleasure, and I believe that it's not the last time.
Yes.
We want to host actually one of your students, okay? Because it's always good to get something from the student's perspective.
Yeah.
Maybe you're a hash teacher and you don't know about it.
Speaking about our students, I have Sherry Awori. She's her student, and she was so happy to know that she's going to be hosted at the coffee break.
Interesting. So your students actually out there. So
yes,
we'll host one of your students, and we just want to know what kind of person you are from their perspective. Yeah. So before we go, I just also want you to look into the camera. Just give us your parting words, to the ladies out there, and also to the baristas, to the coffee community and the industry. What would be your last words for them?
To my fellow baristas, actually, I want to thank them a lot because they are pushing the industry out there. At least now we are recognized as baristas, so I thank them for that. And keep your social media handles active. Keep them active. Keep them active. That's what I can tell you.
Well, we've come towards the end of our show. We just want to thank the coffee goddess, Swabra Banks. That's a new name for her, basically. And also the coffee messiah, Amon Mukisa. And from me, the coffee human, Ateng Emmanuel, thank you for taking time to be with us here, brewing a good cup of coffee. I know sometimes you guys always wonder, okay, how does their coffee taste, The cups of coffee we brew here, You can always get down to different coffee shops. You can visit Amon, you can visit Swabra Banks at her coffee shop and just get to taste, what kind of coffee they make. But apart from that, do always catch the coffee break, bringing you the best about coffee, teaching you different elements, always on House of Talent Television. This has been the Coffee Break, and my name is Ateng Emmanuel.
Welcome to this edition of You and the Law. My name is Jonathan Ochom, your host. You and the Law is simply what it is, you and the law. In this show, we try to demystify the law for the ordinary person, make it simple for a teacher, for a lawyer, for a farmer, for a doctor, for a boda rider, for a cleaner, everyone in our society. This program touches on every aspect of our lives that relate to the law. Is it marriage? Is it property? Is it land? Is it traffic? Anything that touches on the law will be discussed in this program. Today, we're going to have an interesting conversation that will focus on the institution of marriage. I know most of us have attended marriage functions. Some of us are married. Most of us viewers are married. But what does it mean to be married? How does the law look at marriage? So this conversation today will focus on demystifying the whole topic around marriage and how it is viewed from the eyes of the law. And to help us do this, I have a learned mind with me, and it's none other than my friend, my colleague, Emmanuel Elau. Emma, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. Hello, viewers. Thank you for having me on the show.
In House of Talent, when you fist bump, you spread the love. So you do this, then you spread the love. Yeah, so Emma, how have you been?
Well, I've been great.
Yeah, we're coming in from 42 days of a lockdown. How has it been on your end?
It's been quite difficult. You know, you wake up in the morning, you sit around the compound, you look at the time. You know, you lose sense of the calendar because you fail to understand which is a Monday and which is a Sunday.
You're even lucky that you have a compound. Some people live in